Hi guys, so tonight's homework is lesson 30, homework number 3, A and B, and today is March 2nd. So the problem says Denise is making bean bags. She has 6 4/10 pounds of beans. If she makes each bean bag for if she makes each bean bag 8/10 pounds, how many bean bags will she be able to make? And B says if she decides instead to make each bean bag, to make bean bags that are half as heavy, how many can she make? So let's start by boxing in and underlining. She's making bean bags. She has 6 4/10 pounds of beans. That's the total amount of beans that she has there. She's gonna make each bean bag 8/10 of a pound. And the question, how many bean bags will she be able to make? Now, I'm going to put my answer statement up here only because I have extra room. She will be able to make blank bean bags. All right, so let's draw a picture here. We know for our tape diagram, we can have a total at the top. Our total here is 6 4/10 pounds. Now the abbreviation for pounds is LBS. Okay, so when we talk about division and multiplication, we often say that there's 3 things in a division multiplication problem. There's the total amount, there's the number of groups, and there's the number in each group, or the size of the group. Sometimes it's referred to as the size of the group, how big each group is. All right, so here we know the total amount. And the other piece of information we know is the size of each group, or the number in each group. We know each bean bag is going to weigh 8/10 pounds. And what are unknown here is the number of groups. How many bean bags will she be able to make? So if we're not sure about the number of groups here, we can do this type of tape diagram where we show one group is 8/10 pound, and the last group is going to be 8/10 pound. But what we don't know is how many groups there's going to be. All right, when we know the total amount and we know the number in each group, we can divide to find the number of groups. So we take that 6 4/10 pounds, divide it up into bean bags that are 8/10 pound each. Okay, so in class today, we learned how to divide with a decimal divisor. And we want to move that decimal point out of our divisor, and I pay attention to how many times I have to jump that decimal to get it out of the way and in what direction. And here we've moved 1 jump to the right. So whatever we do to the decimal in our divisor, we want to do the same thing to the decimal in our dividend. So we're going to move it 1 place value to the right. Now I can bring that decimal point straight up. So the problem now becomes 64 divided by 8. So I know 8 doesn't go into 6. There's nothing times 8 that gives me 6. 8 is bigger than 6. No whole number times 8 that will give me 6. So now I'm going to look at the number 64. And I know that 8 times 8 is 64. So that 8 is going to go right above the 4 in 64. 8 times 8. 64, subtract, and I get 0. I have nothing left to bring down. So my answer here is 8. She will be able to make 8 bean bags. Okay, so I can even put 8 bags there to label that answer. B says if she decides instead to make mini bean bags that are half as heavy, how many can she make? So answer statement again, she can make blank bean bags. Now we need to think about what it means that each bean bag is half as heavy. Now if the bean bags before were 8/10, then half of 8/10 you could think of a couple different ways. You could take 8/10 and divide by 2. Now 2 doesn't go into 0, but 2 goes into 8 exactly 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. So I get 4/10, really that's 0.4. Or you could think of it as half of 8/10, which is 8/20ths, right? Which I could then reduce, divide by 2, to be 4/10, which is 4/10. So I know each bag, each bean bag, would be 4/10. Or you can just think, okay, they started out as 8/10. We're going to take half of that. Half of 8 is 4, but we're not just talking 4. It's 4/10 because it was originally 8/10. Okay. Now, if you were able to figure out the 4/10 without showing this work, that's great. All right. So to draw a picture, we still have the same total amount of beans. We have 6 4/10 pounds, or 64/10 pounds. We don't know how many groups we're going to make, but our groups now are 4/10 pounds. So there's one group, we can dot, 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 and show the last group, 4/10 pounds. So an expression to match this would be 64/10, 6 4/10, divided by 4/10. Okay, the number that comes first in a division expression goes under the division house, right? Because this is our dividend, it goes in the den. So we have 6 4/10 divided by 4/10. We got to get rid of that decimal. We're going to jump it one place value to the right. So we jump this one place value to the right, and bring it straight up. 4 goes into 6 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. I subtract and get 2. Bring down my 4. 4 times 6 is exactly 24. 6 times 4, 24. I subtract and get 0. There's nothing left to bring down, so my answer here is 16 bean bags. She can make 16 bean bags. Now, a couple things here that I want to talk about. You can check your work. So for each of these problems, we could do a check. I'm going to show you the check for A real quick by taking your answer times your divisor. And now when you do this one, you want to think about what your divisor was before you jumped that decimal out of it. So our divisor used to be 8/10. So we could do 8 times 8/10 to check and see if we get 64/10 as our answer. So here's 8/10 times 8. I know 8 times 8 is 64. Carry my 6. 8 times 0 is 0 plus 6 is 6. We have one digit in the decimals. So I get 64/10, which matches what I started with. Now, so that checks. Really here, guys, what I really want you to recognize is that here we had twice as many beans in each bag. So we had 8/10 pounds and we were able to make 8 bags. Here we're cutting the amount in each bag in half. So when we take half as much in each bag, we are able to make twice as many bags here. I hope that you're able to do your homework, and I hope that this is a little less confusing for you, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow, guys. See you later.